So traders, what I want to talk about to you in today's video, I want to talk about the scenario of why we may be getting into a situation where we're going to see everything pull back. Maybe even cryptos, maybe mining stocks, maybe even gold and silver, and even the stock market. I'm going to talk to you about why we could be seeing a bit of a deflationary period, but it won't last long. And so let me share with you some views, some of my opinions about this, and let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, so let's get straight into it. If you haven't done so guys, I am actually running a free training right now that walks you through all the details to my trading system. I also share with you the 3 secrets that I've learned over the last 17 years of trading these markets to help me do really well. And also on that training, I share with you some of my dark past that I'm not really happy about, but it's a bit of a dark past about how I almost completely blew myself up and what happened there. So anyway, guys, first link in the description, go get access to that. If you're looking to learn how to trade these markets successfully, I guarantee you this, the secret number 1 is going to be for you. So let me get into what I started off with. Let me get into what I started off with in this video, okay? And let me explain. What we're seeing right now is we're seeing obviously stock markets. If I look at the S&P 500 here, we're seeing stock markets just be completely, at all-time new highs. Let's start off with the stock market here, okay? And then we'll get into the mining stocks and all that sort of stuff, okay? So we know the stock market has just been crazy high. And this actually makes me nervous. And it doesn't mean it can't continue here. But this actually makes me really nervous being involved in the markets. Now, guys, I am long the stock market right now. I'm actually also short as well too. What? How could? What do you? Like, I'm actually long the stock market, like S&P 500, Nasdaq, stuff like that. But I'm also short some really good trading opportunities, right? So there's 2 different scenarios there. So looking at these markets, right, we can see how that. We can see here that we've had a very big move. If I show you the weekly charts, we can see that the weekly chart has had an astronomical move up. Now, this is a bubble, and I personally believe we're going to finish this bubble with a blow-off top. Maybe this is the blow-off top, maybe it's not. So what we're seeing right now is we're starting to see a bit of a weakness in the markets, especially moving into last week as the week closed. And I was doing my trading and looking at the market, I'm like, okay, we're probably likely to start to see some really big moves on the downside soon as a correction, right? Because we just had this astronomical move up. And if I look over history, there's nothing back since 1998. There's been nothing that even compares to this. So a sharp correction out of the markets, maybe, just maybe, might be in there, okay? Maybe not even a sharp correction, but when we're looking at sort of like a retracement type of thing, if we have a look at, say, a Fibonacci level from this low point here to this high point, so even a pullback down towards these levels here. Now, I'm not saying this is going to definitely happen right now. The Dow Jones is starting to give us a bit of a warning sign. If I go to the Dow Jones chart, you can see how the Dow Jones, if I draw a trend line, notice how the Dow Jones just had this. It hit the resistance here on this weekly chart. We're looking at the weekly chart here on the Dow Jones, and then we ran up, and now we just failed. Okay, we just ran up, we failed, and now we're breaking back down. That's a very weak sign. So even though I'm long the stock market, on the short-term basis, over the next, say, few weeks maybe, we're probably likely to start to see some strong selling coming out of the Dow Jones and into maybe, again, as I said before, with the Fibonacci levels. Let's actually go from here to here on the Dow Jones. Then we may even be getting down towards 32, maybe even 31 on this pullback. But once again, the interesting thing about the statistics around these corrections in bull markets, at least once a year we get these sort of freak out corrections, and then the market races to all-time new highs again. So looking at the stock market now and looking at what's actually happening here with the Dow Jones, then I wouldn't be too surprised if we actually did see one of those freakouts, which is a correction of 5, 8, 8%, 10% pullback in the markets. And once again, 80% of the time, this is the numbers through history, 80% of the time when we're in a bull market and we get a correction, that's all it is. It's just a correction in the markets, and then we actually simply see a movement, and then we see the market continue back up to all-time new highs. It's only around 20% of the time that it actually turns into a bear market from there. So that's what I do see right now, because the market's got so much support underneath this here for long term that I don't see this market actually being too big or too much on the downside when it comes to these markets, because of obviously the stimulus, the 0% interest rates, the QE every single month they're doing right now. So even if we did get a bit of a pullback right now, you know, we know the Fed's probably going to try to keep this thing moving, but we will expect to see some sort of a pullback out of the markets. It's just the market is very, very, very overextended, and the Dow Jones, looking at this where we are right now, is giving us that warning sign. So that's what I'm seeing right there when it comes to the sort of the indices that I'm seeing here moving forward into next week, or moving forward into the following week. Moving forward into next week. I'm not sure. Do I say next week? This week? It's like, is it next week? All right, next week. Okay. And so, but why I said at the start of the video that, okay, we could be seeing a bit of a move to the downside on all stocks is just looking at what we're seeing here on the S&P 500. But if I go have a look at, say, the things like the gold mining stocks, just to look at the GDX here. Notice this here on the GDX, okay? For the last few weeks, I've been looking at these mining stock indexes, the indices, being a potential false break to the downside, and then a slingshot move back up. So I was looking at this, and I've done videos, and then guess what? The slingshot pattern didn't work. And this is one of the hardest things that you'll find as a trader, is that just because a pattern on the chart is there doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen, right? There's a chance that it doesn't. And this is one of those times that it's not actually working out the way that I wanted to see. So therefore, what's likely to happen is looking at the mining stocks. The mining stocks are continue to be in this downward trend here. This is the GDX here, as you can see. So the mining stocks right now, guys, is continue to be the high, lower high. Look at this here, high, lower high. We have this major level of support all through here and all through here. So I wouldn't be too surprised if the mining stocks started to get some really strong selling movement out of this here to get a bit of a freak out as the stock market comes down as well too, right? A bit of a pullback across all these markets here. This is one thing that's been definitely on my mind. I was calling a potential slingshot pattern here, but it was definitely in my mind, was this here. And when I know that the pattern is no longer working out and it's turning into something else, I need to be flexible and bend with that as well too. And that's your role as a trader, right? If you're in a position and you start getting some doubt with that position, your job is to get out as a trader and then go find something else. So looking at this market coming down through here, as you can see, down like that, we're probably likely to get a bit of a flush down moving forward here, because there's going to be a lot of stops all through here. As well too. What happens after that? It's going to be really, really, really key. If we do get a big strong down and then we get a reversal, then that's what I'm looking for. I have been calling the markets as a slingshot pattern, meaning a false breakdown. For you guys been following me, the one thing I didn't like about this here, and the slingshot pattern basically is that you have this sort of, as you can see, right, you have this support level here. You break back below, and then you break below, and then you try to get back above as well. One thing I don't like, I was calling that, and I was getting ready for like a big move up, but because it's failed right at this resistance line here, now we're rolling back over. That's spelling disaster. And one of the best things to you as a trader, right? If you're in a position and you know that you should be out of this market because the market's not working, the last thing you want to do is work on hope or fear or thinking or wishing or anything like that, right? That's the last thing you want to do. That's the last thing you want to be looking at with the markets when it comes to that. Make sense? So if you're in a position and you know the market's not working at the way that the trade should be, so if I'm in a trade here and the market doesn't, I'm expecting this, but it pauses at resistance here, that's telling you to get out. Where most traders get in problems is that they hold and hope, and then before you know it does that on you, and you're like, oh my goodness, I could have got out for a 2 or 3% loss here, and then now I'm down 50%. Oh, and then you start to blame everyone else. No, finger pointing at yourself. So the one thing we didn't get here is we didn't get with the false breakouts, we didn't actually get a hard flush down and a hard flush move back up. So that's where, again, the slingshot pattern of the false breakdown wasn't it, and therefore it's morphed into something else. And that's what I'm presenting to you. And I've been talking about that for the last few days as well too, how that the market's not doing this anymore. And so that's what I'm looking through there, guys. It's going to be really interesting to see what actually happens with gold as well too, whether gold actually does start to pull back or whether gold holds. Gold is really just, it's just in a very, very, very interesting pattern through here. A strong move down, a strong move up, just really just sideways. So it's going to be, I need to see a lot more data on this gold chart to see what's really going on here. Because if gold for some reason does hold here and we do start to see a move up, I'm not saying it's going to, guys, then that's going to be a higher low and breaking past these highs. That's going to be very, very, very bullish. But if it doesn't and we start to see this here, then we need to, again, we need to just keep an eye out for this here. So there's no real clear indication on gold. We had a strong move down, strong move up, and get a bit of a pullback. We had a lot of support levels all through here as well, to around that 1,760 level. So looking at that level there, that would be the support level that I'll be really watching to see if gold does hold and then move up, or we hold here and we move up, or maybe if we don't hold on gold, then it looks like we may have an everything pullback, and maybe even the cryptocurrencies will too. As you can see, the cryptocurrencies started the sell-off last week, and maybe that sharp sell-off last week was the sign of more selling to come. So there's my little thesis around these markets, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm absolutely nuts and you think I'm wrong? Cool, let me know. Do you think do you see what I'm seeing here? Or do you think that, you know, mining stocks are going to keep going up, or the stock market's going to keep going up? And so it's going to be a really, 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 really interesting point right now when it comes to these markets, guys. So there's a bit of an update for you guys. Once again, guys, if you're looking to learn how I trade the markets and my trading system and stuff like that, very first thing in the description, go click on that, and I'll speak to you real soon.